Okay, thank you everybody for having us. Welcome to Madani International Film Festival in collaboration with Binus University, particularly Film Department. My name is Ekky Imanjaya from both. I am a film lecturer at Binus University, as well as I am the board of Madani International Film Festival. And today we are honored and lucky to have two presenters and we will discuss about the phenomenon that I call Muslim Thai horror films, because this is very interesting for me, because usually Thailand is very famous with horror films, but I think that in the last 1 or 2 years Thailand produced horror films with Muslim culture background, and Kong is already here as one of the co-director. But before we start, I want to share the trailer of Madani International Film Festival. Please.
We forgive and forget, Shumalin. Maybe we can heal and build a better home. Okay, thank you for having us again, and I'm very excited to have this conversation, and it's very interesting because today we have so many participants from all around the world, from the UK. Morning, Councillor Hussein, and of course, yeah, probably morning in the UK, and we have Professor Adamni from Singapore, who is also the expert of Thailand cinema, and we have so many students here, and yes, that's the trailer of this year's Madani International Film Festival. For those who is not familiar with Madani International Film Festival, the Madani Film Festival is a film festival that is focusing on the Muslim culture, all around the world, whether it's as the majority or minority or diaspora and so on. So for this year, we just started last night with the opening movie from Sudan, and then this morning we already watched The Cursed Land, horror movie directed by Rithdee and Panu, and then
the Cursed Land is also will be screened. I think it's tomorrow at Kineva Room, yeah, in Taman Ismail Marzuki. And why the discussion for me is very interesting, because as we read the phenomenon, there are at least two phenomena just appeared this year. Yeah, the first one is because that what I know. The first one is the production of Muslim Thai horror films in Thailand. We have the Cursed Land, and on Netflix, I already watched the Djinn's Curse, and then the second one is Indonesian Catholic exorcism films. For example, Kuasa Gelap or Dominion of Darkness just screened in commercial movie theaters, and then as well as the Gereja Setan or Satanic Church. And both phenomenon represent the minority and with about minority culture in their respective countries, and then both of them directed by the minority filmmaker as well. For this session, the discussion will focus on the newly fresh development, but correct me if I'm wrong, but I just found it interesting about Thailand horror films. But we already know, globally known, that Thailand is famous of its horror films, from Nak Nak in 1999, and Shutter, T-Mac, and The Medium in 2021. The thing is, the production of Muslim Thai horror film is something interesting to investigate, at least according to me. So we invited co-director Kong Rithdee, who will discuss about his own work on the Cursed Land and beyond. Probably Kong wants to discuss about your previous works, yeah, Gaddafi or others, yeah. And then I already also invite Dr. Adi Solihat, an expert of Islamic culture in South Asia, who will investigate the Muslim culture on screen related to social and cultural context of Thailand Muslim pop culture. And before I give the floor to Kong and Bade, I will read the short bio. Yeah. So Kong Rithdee is Deputy Director of the Thai Film Archive. He is also a writer, translator, and filmmaker. His writing has appeared in various Thai and international publications since 1997. He has collaborated with his friend Panu Ari in several documentary films on the subject of Muslims in Thailand, including the Comfort Baby Arabia and Gaddafi. In 2024, Panu and Kong released The Cursed Land, a supernatural film that discusses the little-known history of Melayu Muslims in Siam. And for Ade Solihat, she is a lecturer at the Faculty of Humanities, Universitas Indonesia. She is registered as a teacher in the Southeast Asian Master's Program and teaches the course on dynamics of Islamic culture in Southeast Asia and gender dynamics in Southeast Asia. She frequently uses films as one of the media to depict the dynamics of society in the South Asia, especially among Muslim communities. So, first, let me give the floor to Kong. Please, Kong, could you please explain about your latest?
Yes, of course.
Yeah,
Thank you,
works,
Ekky.
yeah.
Thank you for
Yeah.
inviting the film to your festival in Indonesia. And I believe the Cursed Land is opening in Indonesia very soon. So yeah, this is a good opportunity to discuss the film. I didn't prepare any presentation today, so I will just talk about the film. And I don't know if you have any questions from the participants. We can discuss the film and other things, other subjects later. And of course, I'm looking forward to hear the presentation from Ade, who I believe is more of an expert on the subject of horror films than myself. Okay, so The Cursed Land. Yes, it's a Thai Muslim horror film, if we want to put that description onto the film. And I think as Ekky has said in the introduction, that in the past 2 years, there's my film, there's our film, myself and Panu's film, The Cursed Land. And there's another Thai film called The Djinn's Curse. Well, the titles, both of them seem, not the same, but curse. Everything is cursed in Thailand. So The Djinn's Curse, in Thai is called Khong Khek. The Thai title is, I think the Thai title for that film is more like sensational. Khong Khek means Thai black, Muslim black magic. Khong Khek. But in English it's called The Djinn's Curse. Whereas Panu and myself, my film, the Cursed Land, in Thai, the Thai title is more or less the same. It's a direct translation. Dan Sa means the Cursed Land. So anyway, the subject of the talk today, Thai horror films, Thai Muslim horror films. Well, because in my understanding, there are only 2 feature films that can fit the description of Thai Muslim horror film, which is The Cursed Land and The Djinn's Curse. Of course, I think there's a few short films by film students on they make horror films, but based on also Islamic belief. And I think one of them is also called Djinn. I have not seen those films, but anyway, I'm just trying to say that the number of films that we can discuss when we talk about Thai Muslim horror films is quite limited, at least at the moment, because there's The Cursed Land and then there's The Djinn's Curse, and both of them came out within the past 12 months. So yeah, and The Djinn's Curse is now on Netflix. I think The Cursed Land will go on Netflix soon. I don't know when, but Panu is working on that. So, well, that's where we all end up on Netflix. If you're lucky enough. If you're not lucky, then we go elsewhere. Anyway, yeah, I think to talk about Thai Muslim horror films, because again, as Ekky has said, Thailand is famous for ghost films, for horror films. We have released a lot of world famous, like iconic horror films during the past 20 years. You mentioned Shutter, which celebrates its 20th anniversary this year. But there are so many other Thai horror films. Nang Nak from even before 1999. Actually, the Thai Film Archive today, where I am at right now, we are showing Nang Nak as we are speaking. So Nang Nak, The Shutter. And last year we have 2 Thai blockbusters, and both of them are horror films. Supper, The Undertaker, which is set in the Northeast, Isan, Thailand. And also Tiyot, I think the English title is Death Whisperer. That is also a huge hit in Thailand as well. So over the past 20 years, there's so many Thai horror films in Thailand, and that also travel outside of Thailand. But all of them, I would say all of them, or most of those Thai horror films are constructed within the Buddhist and animist cosmology, like the world of Buddhism and animism. Meaning the concept of ghost, the definition of ghost, and the concept or the definition of exorcism, or the power that can subdue the ghost, are always based on Buddhist teaching or animist or Hindu, or you know what I mean, right? Like Buddhist teachings. And I think this is very obvious in most of the films that you have seen or that we have mentioned. So basically, at the end of the film, a Buddhist monk comes and defeat the ghost, right? So if we want to boil it down to one signature moment, is when the Buddhist monk arrives at the scene of the crime or whatever, and then they defeat the monk. One of the oldest films that we have in the collection of the Thai Film Archive from the I think from the 1940s, 1930s and 40s, Pride the Kian. This is one of the earliest horror films made in Thailand. Silent, black and white silent. And of course, in the end, a monk comes and defeats the ghost. So it happens throughout the history of Thai horror films. But not only the monk, but also the concept of people who come back from death. The concept of what can defeat the ghost, or what the ghost is afraid of. You know, all these symbols or items or objects. All of this, as I said, is constructed under the idea that, okay, this is the Buddhist understanding of the filmmakers and of the audience. That means when you go to a Thai horror film, the audience doesn't need any explanation. They understand why this is happening. They understand why the ghost is afraid of certain kinds of leaf, or a certain kind of rice, sacred rice, or blessed rice by the monk, or holy water. All these objects. It's the same as when you watch like Hollywood horror films or European horror films that is made under the idea of Catholicism or paganism. So they don't need any explanation. So I think, to go back to our film, The Cursed Land, and maybe the Djinn's Curse as well, if I may speak on behalf of that film from a certain angle. I think there are two motivations why we make a Muslim horror film, The Cursed Land, and maybe the Djinn's Curse. The first is aesthetic and cultural motivation, meaning, as we're talking, I mean, because all Thai horror films are Buddhist in the mentality of the filmmaker. So we're thinking that, okay, in terms of a cultural minority, cultural dimension, we can offer something new if we make a horror film, but based on Islamic belief. You know, the logic of ghosts, the logic of the supernatural through the Islamic understanding. I think in terms of aesthetics and culture, we can offer something new. We can try something new. We can play with the form, with the rules of the horror genre, and maybe, you know, offer a new kind of entertainment or understanding of the Islamic culture through the genre of the horror films. That's the first motivation. And the second motivation is more mundane and more practical, which is the marketing reason. Because like, for example, the Djinn's Curse, I believe that that film did quite well in the south of Thailand, where there are a lot of Muslim population. There are a lot of Thai people with you know, who practice Islam. So that film made a lot of money in the south. My film, The Cursed Land, I think we did well in the south as well, but may not be as well as the Djinn's Curse. So in terms of marketing, of course, you are targeting a certain demographic audience, and in terms of how to sell the movies is quite obvious. And to expand on this subject, in Thailand lately, regional films or films that made to cater to a certain demographic or even geographic audience is becoming more popular. For example, films made in the northeast of Thailand, in Isan. Last year, as I mentioned, the film The Undertaker or Sapparer, it was a huge hit. I think right now it's the second or third most successful film in Thai film history. And it started as a film made for the Isan market, the northeastern market. But it was well made, and it reaches out and it crosses over into the national market, and it became a phenomenon everywhere in Thailand. But I'm just saying that the idea that, okay, Bangkok used the main market, it is still the main market. It's still the most important market in Thailand, still today. as it has always been. But the idea that you can make a movie by thinking of people outside of Bangkok, zooming in on certain audiences in different parts of the country, that idea is becoming more popular. And for these two horror films, the Djinn's Curse and my film, the Cursed Land, we sort of think about that as well. Not to mention the idea that we can sell the films to Malaysia and Indonesia and other Islamic countries. But okay, these are the two motivations. But to me, as a writer, I mean, I actually in the film, if you watch The Cursed Land, I'm credited as the writer, and Panu is the director. Even though we collaborated on most throughout the process, but I'm more of the writer, and Panu is more of the director. As a writer, I would like to focus more on the aesthetic or the cultural motivation of why we decided to make this film, which is to offer, you know, when you talk about a movie today, one of the keywords, I think, again, because of Netflix, because of this, you know, the world of series, is that you have to the world setting, you have to create a world. And then when you enter the audience into that world, you know, everything functions according to the logic of that world. And since most Thai horror films function in the logic of the Buddhist world, we want to create a new world based on the Islamic culture, meaning that, well, if you have seen the film, if you have not, then okay, I will try not to spoil everything, but you can see that we have a monk in the film. We have a monk in what actually one of the key scenes in the film is that we have a monk coming to help the characters who are being, you know, harassed by the ghosts. And then the monk said, okay, I cannot help you. This is a different world. This is a different spiritual realm. Different. I think in the film I used the word, this is a different spiritual jurisdiction. So monks are useless in this case. Well, actually, I just want to have that scene when a monk comes into a house and say, okay, I'm out of here because this is not my film. I cannot defeat the ghost that exists in this film. I have to go to another movie, you know, things like that. Because, okay, I want to show that, okay, this is a different kind of logic that the movie, the narrative, the movie operates in. But of course, the idea of Djinn, the idea of where the supernatural beings come from, this is explained in the film and is also different from most Thai horror films. I'm not saying it's better or it's worse or anything, but as I said, we just want to make something different. So the idea of the Djinn, we have to explain it in the film. Okay, where the Djinn comes from, what it is according to the Quran or according to the belief. And the film is set in Bangkok. The Cursed Land is a story set in Bangkok, in the suburb of Bangkok, which has a historical connection to the Malayu slaves who were brought from the south of Thailand 200 years ago when Siam annexed that region, and that region became a part of Siam or Thailand. So the eastern suburb of Bangkok, Nong Jok, where we shot the film, where the story is set, that was where the Malayu slaves from the south were brought when Siam took that area and brought the captives. They call it captives or slaves to work to dig a canal in the suburb of Bangkok. So that's where the story is set. But one section in the film also takes place in the south. I wish we could shoot more in the south, but we don't have that much money. If we had more money to make the film, we could shoot like maybe 10 days in the south. So we could do only like 3 days in the south, and we shot what we could. Yeah, and again, that part of Thailand is not very much represented in Thai cinema. You don't have that many films shot in the south, especially in the deep south, in the Muslim deep south. And actually, we do not have, well, the Islamic subculture is not represented or is not shown in Thai films all that much. It's interesting because if you go back to 1950s, 1960s, we have a few films, a few Thai films that have Muslim characters, or we have scenes in the house of a Muslim. We can see that, but there's hardly any Thai film that talks about Muslim people. There are. I think Panu did a dissertation on that when his master's dissertation is about Thai Muslim representation in Thai cinema, and he talked about 5 or 6 films. So I think, but that's pretty much it. 6 or 7 Thai films, and of course they're not horror films. They are other films, and some of those films are not actually about Islamic characters, but they have Islamic characters in it, in certain capacities. So again, the idea of making the Cursed Land for us is to present images of Islam in Thailand that we have not seen in Thai feature films. For example, we have a scene of a merit making. I don't know the Malay or the Bahasa word for when you have circumcision rite and you invite like all the people in your village to come to the house and eat and have a party and have a reception. But this particular Islamic ceremony, it has a certain atmosphere and looks and images that, of course, we have never seen that before in Thai film. And I just want to put that in the film. I just want to put the scene of the merit making. I just want to put the scene of of the Malay captives working. I just want to put the scene of people reciting Ayat Kursi, which is, again, you cannot expect to see that in the Thai movie. So I think in the end, well, I think the Cursed Land is not, how to put it, it's not the best horror film. It's not a very good horror film, but I think it does okay in representing images. I want to stress the word image. It's not just symbols. It's not culture. It's not like a representation of something. I want to talk about image. We need certain images of the Thai Muslim subculture on the screen as part of Thai cinema. I think that's the idea of why we did the film. And of course, to make it into a ghost film or horror film means it's easier to sell. It has it's more accessible to different markets, as I explained earlier. But yeah, I think the general idea is how to present the image of Thai Muslim subculture on the screen, which we believe it has not been done enough in the past 100 years of Thai cinema. Okay, I think maybe we can let Ade talk, and then we can go to the discussion later. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the excellent presentation. Actually, I have so many questions, but I will hold it until the Q&A session. Yeah, and I hope the audience, the participants here also have so many questions, because I think it's an interesting phenomenon about the Muslim Thai horror film. Okay, thank you. And for the second turn, please, Mbak Ade, if you have any PowerPoint presentation.
Okay. Thank you very much, Bang Ekky. I apologize for the situation earlier. It happened suddenly. It's very horror earlier, I think. Suddenly, my room went dark and the electric was gone.
It happens.
Kebetulan. It happened. Cicok logi. Okay, Bang Ekky, good afternoon, audience. My name is Ade Solihat. I think I have just been introduced by Bang Ekky. Yes. First of all, I would like to congratulate to the Madani International Festival film. Yesterday night, the opening ceremony. It's right, yeah. Very success. I would also like to extend my greetings and express my appreciation for the presence of the Mr. Kong, the co-director and screenwriter, yes, of the Curse Land film. Hello, everybody. Please give me 1 minute. Okay. This is my presentation for Madani International Film Festival 2025. The title of the presentation is Muslim Narratives in Two Thailand's Horror Film, The Djinn's Curse and the Curse Land. This is about a cultural dialogue on screen. I am Ade Solihat. I am a lecturer at Faculty of Humanities, Universitas Indonesia. Ladies and gentlemen, we know Thailand is well known as a country that produces a largest number of horror films. We know about that. As a country with a Buddhist majority, Thai horror films frequently draw inspiration from Buddhist folklore, spiritual beliefs, and cultural practice. But the 2 last years, the emergence of films set in the context of Thailand's Muslim community, such as the film, namely the Djinn's Curse, released at 2023, and the Curse Land, the new release 2024, bring a fresh perspective to Thai cinema, particularly in the horror genre. Let's discuss about the film. For Thai cinema, I first watch the Djinn's Curse. The film is directed by Monwich. He is a Muslim, I think. Yeah. The film explores the Djinn, which hold significant importance in Islamic mythology. This is the new era for the Thai cinema. For Thai cinema, this is unusual. For Indonesian audience, there are many cultural similarities, especially in the cosmological views of Jinn and the supernatural within Islam. The second film, The Curse Land, Mr. Kong's film. He is a co-director and screenwriter. Nice to meet you, Mr. Kong. And the director, Panu Ari, you are both Muslim, I think. And this film explores the experience of a Thai person within the mythology of the Muslim community. It is interesting to analyze the representation of Muslim and the cultural narratives constructed within the Djinn's Curse and the Curse Land film, I think. This paper has 2 objectives: to analyzing the representation of Muslim in the Thai horror film, and the second aims exploring the cultural narratives constructed in the Djinn's Curse and the Curse Land. Why doing this discussion? We have relevance. I think watching is not just about viewing, not just about watching. addition to serving as entertainment, a film also acts as a reflection of social and cultural realities. And the two films discussed are significant in understanding the lives of the Muslim minority in Thailand. Okay, everyone, let's discuss. This is about the first film, The Djinn Scores. Synopsis. This is about a family from Bangkok moves to Foragen province in southern Thailand. Southern Thailand is part of the area with the people majority Muslim. The youngest daughter, Lin, constantly protests to her father, feeling uncomfortable in their new era and home. Very, very hardly, very sad to go the new new home. Furthermore, her mother falls ill, and her older sister tragically dies in an accident. The film begins with a mythological story about Nenek Buyuk Dasim. This is very interesting about the lasting legend, lasting myth in the Muslim Thailand. Maybe the Nenek Buyut Dasim also known in the Melayu and Muslim society in Malaysia and in Indonesia too. This is a legend. This is a lasting legend. The story, generation to generation, known about the legend. And the terror within the household occurs amid communication issues among family members. You know, Lin, the youngest daughter of the family, protests to her father. Why we move the new country, new village, and the conflict involving supernatural beings is in fact roots in feelings of the heart and a desire for revenge as well as jealous. Is the feature about the synopsis of the film. All the terror experienced by the Win family is not without reason, actually, as they are a house that was once caused by a Djinn, which always seeks to disturb and harm. This is the synopsis of the Djinn scores, and then a synopsis of the cruise line. The film also begins the myth of story of Kadir, the legend from 2 years ago, before the Bangkok built. This is about Meet and his daughter, namely May, move into a house within a Muslim community. They feel isolated and unfamiliar with the Muslim society there, and terror within the Meet household is about they disagreed various advice from the local people and inadvertently release a Djinn that has been imprisoned since the founding of Bangkok 2000 years ago. Relying on selection from local tradition and beliefs, here, the terror caused by the malevolent being can only be resolved through the beliefs and local religion, which is Islam. I think about the theoretical approach to discuss this two film. namely discuss about discourses analysis and cultural representation theory. Discourse analysis can explain about the conversation between Win and the Toh Imam about the Jinn is not Thailand supernatural things. The Jinn is terminology from Arabic terminology or Islam terminology. And the cultural dialogue among ethnic groups in Thailand occur for more scenes explain about unfamiliarity and mutual suspicion. This is, I think, there are implicit message of film to foster better understand and collaboration, because the person who according myth, the dangerous is a person who have him, and it is about implicit message for the cinema maker. I think we can ask the Mr. Kong, is it right or wrong? Okay. With narrative and representation of horror in Muslim society, we know about jinn refers to supernatural beings created by Allah from smokeless fire, and jinn can possess free will, allowing them to choose between good and evil, and can be either Muslim or not Muslim in narrative Muslim society. Jinn play a significant role in Islamic theology, like myth of Nenek Dasim, example folklore, like the myth of the cursed land, and often serving a symbol of the unseen world and the moral struggle between good and evil. This is a supernatural being possessed with bodies. I am very appreciates, but because the jinn curse use woman to possess, and the new idea from the film, Mr. Kong's films, the weak bodies also can be male, just not female, like the stereotype. And the Islam, jinn can manifestation like a monster, ghost. Yeah, this is the the kind of the manifestation of monster. Okay, the film explain about how human connect with the unseen, like the jinn calls the jinn wolf to always disturb human, Nenek Dasim, and in the cruise land, we know Kadir, the man from 2 years ago, cursed the land. I don't think so. How about the problem of the Kadir? I will ask Mr. Kong what happened with Kadir. So he cursed the land, this land. And humans can contact the jinn with the have a dukun. humans seek power from Jinn, like the Zarin, the woman need have to Toh Bomber to ask the power. Uh, uh, she want to balas dendam to her boyfriend.
Revenge ya.
Yes. Okay, thank you. And the genes can possess uh, weak humans are possessed and controlled by jinn or demons, like the picture in the first film. The all possession weak humans are female, and it's very criticized to how a woman, how female. But the curse land, the weak human possessed and controlled by jinn is meet the actor. Okay, I think we can see the shift in Thai horror film now, from Buddhist cosmology to Islamic cosmology, and the film, the last film, the Land film, has breaking stereotype about the Thai horror film. Okay, let's see together. A horror film inspired by Buddhist cosmology and local beliefs. Ghosts are almost always represented as female, reflecting a gender stereotype. But and in Islam, same horror films in the Muslim community inspired by Islamic cosmology combined with local tradition, and the concept of supernatural is different and unique from the cosmology of Buddhists. And still gender stereotype can we see in the horror films in the Muslim community in generally. But the Jinn's cause, we can see that it still heavily features gender stereotypes. Those possessed who are weak and seek help from Jinn are still predominantly female. But the moral message is that evil can manifest in supernatural ways due to heart disease, envy, resentment, etc., and can be perpetrated by both men and women. This is the shift, the Thai horror film, I think. And the Line film, also inspired by Islamic cosmology, it demonstrates gender balance, I think, showing that the weak and those possessed can also be male. Is new idea from the film. It illustrates that those who are intelligent and capable of solving problem can also be female. The dukun in the Land is female, a woman, old woman. This is about social and cultural reflection, I think. This film portrays the tension and mutual suspicion between two ethnic groups, Buddhist and Muslim in Thailand. It's very great to multicultural film, I think. I saw about the cause and effect in these two film. Why do human get angry? Because envy, resentment, psychological factors, like meet the person who lost an injured, resulting from that loss. He lost his wife from the accident. And the film uh, give the problem solved. In this context, this is about the Muslim community, assistant from the wise person like the Pak Haji ulama, and then always there are recite Al-Quran, especially ayat kursi. It's very different from the Thai film generally. In these two films, I think the beautiful idea to exploration of nature and the beauty of certain Thai culture. The film location at the in the beautiful Narathiwat province in South Thailand. They are lives the maybe 90% Muslim, and this is communication dialogue. Di sini hampir tidak ada non-Muslim. Hampir almost there is no non-Muslim people here. And so the actor Meet and May are the minority in the majority Muslim society. Okay, everybody, we here in my reflection, I think Thai Muslim filmmakers are emerging to offer another genre, to horror genre, set against a Muslim cultural backdrop amid the rise of Thai horror films. These filmmakers are shifting the stereotype of ghosts and evil, which are typically represented by females. Both weak and evil characters can be male or female. Tension within the community can be resolved through the custom and belief of the society. And conclusion in this paper, in this presentation, I think the representation of Muslim in these two films highlight the tension between mystical tradition and Islamic beliefs. And both films with a Thai Malay language production that broaden the horizon of Thai cinema and horror films. This is transition from traditional Buddhist cosmology to element of Thai Muslim identity. But I have question for further discussion. I want to ask to Mr. Kong. Oh, sorry. How have the Thai horror film set against the backdrop of the Muslim minority been received by the Thai society? Is very interesting, I think. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Ekky Imanjaya. Thank you for the time for me. Please, any question maybe.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mbak Ade Solihat, with the very interesting presentation, yeah. And please, Mbak Ade, share screen. Nice. Great. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Before I ask the audience to discuss or to have a Q&A, probably Kong, do you want to answer the Mbak Ade's question? Is also my question. How is the reception of Muslim Thai horror films in Thailand? Is it the Curse Land already distributed?
Yes, of
Okay.
course. The film came out in July. And
Oh, July. Okay.
in terms of box office numbers, we are doing okay. Not great, but not bad. So it was okay. But first of all, you have to consider the fact that if it's a horror film, then the chance of success or a chance of attracting people is already there. You don't have to work that much to attract
Yeah.
people to see
Oh,
a
yeah,
horror
yeah.
film.
Yeah.
So okay, that's a factor that works in our favor, and actually that's what it's part of our idea from the beginning, that okay, if originally we want to present an Islamic culture in the movie, the easiest way to do this, the easiest way to appeal to the broader market is to make it a horror film. So we did okay. I think the Djinn's Curse did better. I think because maybe it caters to a broader group of audience. I think that the Djinn's Curse did better than us. But we did okay, not so bad. It could have been worse, but
Yeah.
we felt okay with what we made. Yeah.
But I'm just wondering, because I think it's a new idea about the horror films with Muslim culture or Muslim society, the context. So
Yes.
what about the response? Like, is it a positive one, or do you have any people criticizing you? This is not because
Yes.
usually like Muslim
Yeah.
do not do like this, blah blah blah. So is there any
Exactly. Yeah. This is a long discussion, Ekky. Because okay, I think it's the same. I don't know if it's the same as in Malaysia or Indonesia, but probably in Thailand and in many parts of the world, if you talk about Islam in whatever ways, it is already a sensitive subject. If you're talking about Buddhism, it's not sensitive. If you're talking about Catholicism, it's not sensitive. But if you're talking about Islam or Muslim, suddenly it becomes a sensitive issue. I don't understand why. So
I feel you.
And we were aware of that. We are always aware of that. We were very much aware of that when we started making the film, when I wrote the script. And not just about Islam, but because we're talking about the film, The Cursed Land talks about this chapter in Thai history that I think I could say this, that it has never been discussed in the movie before, which is the history of the Melayu, the ethnic Melayu people who were forced to come to work in the suburb of Bangkok 200 years ago. This is something that I think it's not popular history. Most people don't know about this. Most people don't know about this. When the film came out, we had to explain that, okay, because we didn't do any explanation in the film. We decided not to do a lot of explanation, which is okay. Kadir is the person who cursed the land in the film. He was a Malay captive who were forced by the Siamese army to come to Bangkok, and he was so upset, he was so angry, he wanted to go home. He didn't want to be in Bangkok. He wanted to escape, but he was caught, so he used his power, his supernatural black magic or whatever. He cursed the land, and he made the Djinn protect this land for him. Okay, it doesn't make sense, historically, but okay, we are talking about horror film. But anyway, the historical fact that we presented in the film, even though in the form of a horror film or a supernatural film, this is something that we felt from the beginning to be very sensitive. So there are many sensitive buttons included in the film. And to be completely honest, Ekky and Ade, we were quite afraid of as well. We were afraid that we would get into trouble with the censors if we're talking about this historical episode that can be interpreted as we are stirring up the resentment of, because as you know, there's still a problem in the south of Thailand, the separatists insurgency. Okay, it's not as bad as before, but the problem is still there. The issue, it is still an issue. So to talk about this, we were a little bit paranoid, maybe too paranoid, but we admit that this is in the back of our mind throughout the process. And then we're talking about Islam. If you're talking about Islam in one way, you will upset one group of people. If you're talking about Islam in another way, you upset another group of people. If you're too liberal, you upset the conservative. If you're too conservative, we are not true to ourselves because we don't think that way. But anyway, I don't know if this is I don't think this is the news in Indonesia, but regarding the Cursed Land, when we were promoting the film, our PR team, they were quite stupid. They tried to promote this Islamic angle of the film, but in a very cheap way. I would never do that. I mean, it cheapened the film. It makes the film look cheap. So I don't know why they did that, and I'm very upset. I'm sure they're not here to listen to me, but I've said this many times that this is the worst thing that they could do to a film, meaning to sensationalize it, to make it look cheap by having girls dress up in hijab. In Talakong, the prayer. Talakong here. In the female prayers garb, the costume, and walk around. They have these women in Talakong, and they with a ghost face, like they made up the face into like ugly ghost face, and they have these girls walk around in the shopping mall to promote the awareness of the film. And well, of course, this is so well. First of all, it has no taste. It's very low class. I don't know why they did that to my film, but anyway, it's another story. And well, of course, the extremists, the Islamic extremists, radical nut job somewhere, they made a big fuss out of it. They made a big fuss online, and they went to the film company to protest. And well, in a way, you could say that it raised the awareness of the film, even though, in a bad way. And even though in the film, there is nothing like that. As Ade has very, very kindly and accurately said that the film, In the Cursed Land, we try consciously to make the male weaker than the female. That's one of the main themes of the film. And in the film, and actually, it's not just Islamic horror film. In all horror films in the world, in every horror film in the world, it's always a female ghost. It's always a female ugly face, from The Exorcist right down to Death Whisperer and everything. The easiest way to scare people is to bring a young innocent girl and make her face into a ghost face, and that's already scary. That's already, it is a sign of corruption. It's a sign of the devil. Taking over the world, and they will do this to a woman first, right? So in our film, we just want to make it different. So we make the guy weaker. But anyway, in the promotion campaign, they make again the female ghost, and I was so upset. I'm sorry, but yeah. So there are many sensitive spots. So to answer your question, yes, we did in fact, anger quite a few conservative people who have not seen the film, and I'm sure they have not seen it right now.
But the thing about your one of the heroine in your film is not only a lady, but an old lady on a wheelchair, and that's very interesting for me. It's something rare.
Yes, the lady on wheelchair. Actually, we try to communicate something, but I don't think it come across in the film. I think it's in the dialogue, but I think we have cut it. Because of the problem in the south of Thailand. We talking about this historical episode where the Malay ethnic Malay slaves or captives were brought to Bangkok, and that's still the root. It's still the part of the Thai history that a lot of people in the south are still thinking about, still remember, and because of the violence in the south of Thailand. So I think we try to suggest that, okay, maybe this woman, maybe this sorcerer, she's one of the victims of the violence in the south of Thailand. That's why she has to be on her wheelchair. But well, I think in the dialogue, there's one dialogue that said, okay, refers to the violence in the south of Thailand, but I think we cut it in the end. Yeah.
Okay, there are two questions by
Nice.
Kauser Hussein for you. Let me read it. Really good presentation. My question is for Kong. How much influence did the pressure of presenting Islamic themes or culture has on your writing? Did you find yourself changing things to please the audience? And another question is, do you think it's because of Western religions influence on horror films being too familiar now to our audience? Apa nih? Islamic myth and horror is still unfamiliar, so that contributes to the shock value.
Sorry, the first question again. Sorry, Ekky.
Okay.
Okay, I can read it. I can read it. Yeah.
Yes, please.
Representing a.
Yeah. Did you find yourself
Okay.
changing
The
things
first.
to please audience? Yeah, because or to avoid problems probably.
Not changing things to please the audience. I don't think so. Not to please them, but as I said, we are quite aware of the sensitive nature of many things we are talking about. So we are aware of that, and I mean, I've been in cinema for a long time. I've been a critic and writer, and we did documentary films. But still, this is my first, well, Panu's first feature film. So we are trying to be adventurous. We're trying to bring something new to Thai cinema. We're trying to think outside the box. But at the same time, we still realize that we still have to play it safe in a way. So for instance, in the end, the ghost has to be defeated, right? We cannot let the ghost win, for example. If you want to be really radical, if you want to say that, okay, evil will win eventually, like what happens in the world today. Look at Gaza, look at Lebanon, the evil wins. So if you want to portray that, the ghost has to win, the evil has to win, not the good guys. But we cannot do that. So we're not writing to please the audience, but we're writing within the framework. We still operate very much in the framework of supernatural or horror film. And that is always, that is what we frame ourselves while we are doing this. We want to be different. We want to be artistic. We want to be brave, but there's a certain limit to what we can do according to our budget, according to the market, according to the investors, according to our awareness of the potential sensitivity of many things. We are discussing the Islamic part, but also the historical part of the. I think, to me, the historical part is more sensitive than the Islamic angle of the film.
There is the second question.
Yeah.
Second question by Kauser Hussein.
Yes. I see the second question. The influence of Western religion on horror films. Yes, of course, because we grew up watching The Exorcist. We grew up watching The Omen, The Conjuring. We grew up watching a lot of Catholic based or Christian or Western belief framework in the movie. So there's a formula, there's a playbook that even other Thai films operate. Trying to be exorcist, trying to do this and that, but still within the framework of the Hollywood film. But I think to discuss this, I think Indonesian horror films are have more freedom to break away from the tradition of Hollywood horror films or from Western religion horror film. I think a film of Joko Anwar or even the 1980s Indonesian horror films, what do you call or the black magic films, all those films, of course. Joko Anwar is the latest manifestation of such a long line of great Indonesian horror filmmakers. I think the parameters of horror films in this part of the world, the Indonesian horror films seem to be able to expand that parameters and to find a way to move around that parameters more than even Thai Buddhist-based horror films, I think. And for my film, it's not easy to discuss this because we are talking about more or less 2 films today. We don't have like 10 films in the list to discuss how they try to be different, how they change the rules of Thai horror films or Islamic belief. We only have 2 films, and I think these 2 films, my films and the Djinn's Curse, they still operate very much within the familiar framework, as Ade has already summed up. You know, the horror house, the haunted house genre, the family in trouble, you know, looking for a person, for a to imam or a spiritual authority to deal with the jinn or the evil. We talk about jinn. I think in Indonesian horror films, you don't even have to mention jinn anymore, right? It has many other kinds of ghosts, you know. But for us, because we think, oh, we are one of the first Thai Muslim horror films, so we have to explain what a jinn is. And we spend a lot of time explaining what a jinn is because we are afraid that the audience wouldn't understand it. But, and again, if we don't, you know, because the concept of ghosts in Thai films is that a person who dies comes back as a ghost, right? But that's not Islamic, right? You know, in Islam, a person dies and he is in Kubur and he's waiting for Akhirah, for Judgment Day, right? So, but if you want to make a film that that works by the rule of Islamic, then we cannot have like a dead person coming back to life. We have to have a jinn, which is like a separate entity, which is another thing totally, right? But in Indonesian horror film, I think you have all sorts of ghosts. Not just the jinn, you have like the pocong, right? Pocong, the kafan.
Pocong,
the pocong, the hantu,
the
different kinds of
shroud,
hantu. So you have you can play around more because you have the Indonesian horror films have a long tradition to work with Islamic belief and folk belief and mix them together to create a horror film. But for us, well, it's still the as I said, the parameters are still very limited, and we are more or less fixed by those parameters.
Okay, thank you very much. We still have about 10 minutes. Is there any question or any comment?
Maybe for Ade as well. Don't just
for Ade. Probably Adam. Adam, do you have any comment or question to Ade or Kong? Probably you still muted. Sorry.
Something interesting that came up, another parallel that sounds like something that you know, Kong's film is at the leading edge of, but that's really had a momentum in the last, say, 2 years in Indonesian horror film. You know, your Kong's film and Djinn's Curse is representing other subcultures which usually aren't included in horror. But Indonesian horror film had gotten so burnt out from making so many films every year, the last couple of years. The 2 key innovations. One is this thing with any viral media gets adapted. Any viral timeline gets adapted. But the other thing is, you know, it used to be always city versus country. And now instead there's this exploration of various communities, ethnicities. So it's moved away from the city, a lot of the films, and a lot of them are set purely in non-Jakarta areas and in dialects, right? Many Indonesian horror films now needing subtitles because it's in Javanese or another dialect, or Agaklan, where you have Christian and Muslim and multiple ethnic groups. So this now has been a key trend, this sense of diversity within the Islamic culture. And that's starting to be explored now in the Thai horror film as well.
Thank you, Prof. Adabdi. Thank you for your comment. Okay, is there any other question or
if there is
comment?
no, I want to ask Mr.
Oh,
Kong
yeah.
again.
Yes, please.
I'm very interested about the Mr. Kong. Is it true the filmmaker and you intends to convey the issues occurring in Muslim lands are resolved in a Muslim way? Is it correct or no? Because this is evidenced by myths problem being resolved not through this own religion, Buddhist, but through Islamic methods. What do you think?
Yeah, I think we can yeah, according to narrative of the film, I think myths problems are solved with two approaches.
Mhm.
Well, of course, there's the religious approach, which is, well, the witch doctor, the guy, him, who recites the Quran, and then the Jinn was pushed back. But at the same time, there's a scene before that scene when Mid and his daughter confront the ghost of his wife, which in fact is just in Mid's imagination, or maybe just the Jinn, disguising itself as his wife, because that is trauma. That is the main character's trauma and guilt, and his unresolved pain in his life. So at first, Mid's problem is resolved because he comes to terms with his grief. He accepts that his wife is dead. He accepts that now he only has his daughter. And there's a scene when his daughter taps him, and there's a flashback to their happier times when his wife was still alive. And then that's one resolution, which means it happens inside Mid.
Okay.
It happens in his head that, okay, he realized that he has to accept that his wife is dead, and what happens to him is psychological as well as supernatural, both. But then there's another battle at the shrine between him and the Jinn. So that's the second resolve. So there are two. So yes, his problem is solved to a religious method, but also, first of all, more importantly, it's himself. Because when he went to the south, when he went to see the witch doctor, the woman witch doctor, she said, I cannot help you. You have to help yourself. And that means you have to solve your own head. You know, maybe it's going crazy. Like in many horror films, the character is wondering if what he's seeing is real or not. So in Mid's case, it's both real and not. I mean, the Jinn is real. The Jinn is in his house, but the Jinn can get inside his head because of his grief, because of his the feeling, the longing for his wife, and the inability to forgive himself, right? So when he solves that, then the other battle at the shrine is also conclusive of the story.
Thank
I
you.
think there's another
Yeah,
question
from Patrick.
Patrick. Yeah.
From Patrick Campos. Yeah.
Okay. Move away from the Thai Buddhist conventions of horror or some kind of melding. Yes, I think originally we want to move away from the Thai Buddhist convention. As I said before, there are two motivations: the cultural and aesthetic motivation, and also the kind of marketing. Okay, marketing sounds like very mercenary, but practical reason that okay, we want to do something new. But so yes, it's a conscious decision to make this horror film based on the Islamic belief. And just to give you a little bit of background, Panu, the director, and myself, in the past 10 years, we did quite a few documentary films on the subject of Muslim in Thailand. We did The Convert, which is about a Buddhist woman who converts to Islam to marry a Muslim man. So we made a documentary based on her life. We did documentary on the Thai Muslim music band, Baby Arabia. They play in central Thailand, and they play Malay music. So we did a documentary on that. We did Gaddafi. Gaddafi is a short documentary about a boy, a Muslim boy, whose name is Gaddafi. So we were just wondering, why did his father call him Gaddafi, and his real name on his ID card is called Gaddafi. So we just follow him around for a few weeks to learn about his life. So we did several films on the subject of Thai Muslims or Islamic subculture in Thailand before. And Panu said, "Oh, why don't we do feature film? Why don't we do something? We push ourselves a little bit further, and make a feature film." So we decided to make the Curse Land.
Okay. The last but not least is from Khadija Ashel. Khadija, do you want to ask by yourself? Please feel free to ask question.
Okay, thanks for the opportunity สวัสดีค่ะ คุณของฤทธิ์ดี ฉันชื่อ
Good,
อาชา
good.
นะคะ ฉันเป็นนักศึกษาที่ Universitas Indonesia ฉันได้พูดภาษาไทยนิดหน่อยนะคะ That's
ครับ
all.
ขอบคุณครับ
Okay,
ขอบ
so
คุณครับ
first of all, I would like to say that thanks a lot for like a lot of knowledge that you have just shared about the Thai horror films, especially about the perspective of Muslim Thai horror films. Like earlier, you also mentioned about why the Muslim Thai horror films only had a few producing in production in Thai. If I can conclude, it was about the differences of social culture and also ritual of religion, which is not related to Hinduism and Buddhism, also because of discriminative thoughts about Islam. And also the cause of the target market of this film is not that widespread because only South Thailand's people that familiar about Jinn and Islamic black magic. And what I want to ask is, based on your experiences about bad responses to this film, what is your future expectation about development of producing this kind of genre, Muslim Thai horror? Like, do you have plans to collaborate with film productions in Indonesia or Malaysia to reach a wider target market? That's all. Okay,
Okay.
ขอบคุณนะคะ
Good, good
Thank you.
question.
Thank you. I think in Thailand, as I said earlier, when you talk about when you mention Islam, it's already a sensitive issue. So I don't think any non-Muslim filmmakers in Thailand would want to make an Islamic horror film. It would be too risky for them. And then again, there's investors. I don't because the market for how to put it. Okay, if you make a good film, if you make a scary film, regardless of its cosmology, regardless of its the world in which the movie is set, if you just make a scary movie, and it becomes successful, then you are validated by the commercial success. If the Curse Land happen to make like 1 million baht, well, I bet there'll be a lot more Islamic horror films coming after us. But fortunately, we did not make that much money. If we had made that much money, it must have meant something wrong. I mean, if I made something popular, it means I did something wrong because it was not supposed to be popular. So anyway, if there an Islamic horror film that makes a lot of money, then a lot of people will want to do it. But right now the market is very limited, so I don't think there will be many more Islamic horror films coming after us. I don't think so. I hope there will be, but I don't know. So you are right. The way to do it is to not to just look at Thailand, but to look at the Malaysia and Indonesia as a territory that we can communicate with, or we can connect with. I think this is what filmmakers in many places in the world are thinking. They don't confine themselves within the geographical boundary of their country. They think of other territories as well. And I think it's possible that we can make a horror film by thinking about Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, Singapore, maybe the Philippines as well, according to our share, I don't know, religious or supernatural belief. If we can, for example, the best example is the Chinese diaspora and the Chinese overseas subculture. See, if you have the Golden Horse in Taiwan, the Golden Horse Film Festival, the Golden Horse Award, which includes all Chinese speaking film. So if you make a Malaysian film, Indonesian film, Singaporean film, Taiwanese, Hong Kong, you can go to the Golden Horse because Chinese, the Chinese language is the connecting factor, is the shared element that connecting the region through the Chinese language. The success of the Thai film, the grandma film, how to make billions before you million or billions, I can't remember. Yeah,
Billion.
whatever, a zillion
Billion.
maybe, before your grandma is dead and put to Kubor. The success of that film shows that the overseas Chinese influence, the overseas Chinese subculture is very strong, and this is the cultural aspect that a lot of countries in the region and even in the Europe in America can connect with. So the Chinese language is this give us this perspective of how cross-border marketing or cross-border narrative is possible. So yes, you're right. If we're making an Islamic horror film, we should not think about Thai Islamic horror film, but maybe Southeast Asian Islamic horror film. So hopefully we can make it possible one day.
Hopefully, yes. Okay, thank you very much. I think the time is up for the
Thank
last.
you, thank you.
Yeah, before we wrap it up, we can have a group photo. Yeah, group photo. Yeah, it's Indonesian thing.
Of course. Thai thing too.
Yeah, and then after that, one of my students will put exit ticket for Binus students. Okay, only two slides. Yeah, so it's not that. Please open your camera, everybody. Sama Vicky? Siapa? Oke. Lisarta. Kasih aba-aba ya, please count down. Ya. Oke. 3, 2, 1. Okay, for the second slide. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Thank you. And exit ticket for the students. Yeah. It's Binus thing.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Kong.
Thank you for
And
listening.
I
Thank
wish
you,
I-
Bang
you
Ekky.
would
Thank
be
you,
here.
Ade.
Mr.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Adam.
Thank you very much.
Nice to
Thank you.
meet
Thank
you.
you. Nice to
Hope to
meet
see you in
you.
Mr.
person.
Adam.
Thank you. Hopefully I can meet you, Kong, in person, yeah, in Bangkok or in
Of course.
Jakarta.
Please let me know. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are you
Yeah.
still coming to Singapore, Ekky?
Oh yeah. Let's meet up, Adam. We are still
Okay,
planning.
great,
Yeah,
great.
at the I think first or second week of December. Yeah, in
Yeah, they're working on it.
Singapore. Yeah. Okay.
Bye.
Okay, Ekky, thank
you,
you very
Ar.
much.
Thank you, Mbak Ade. Thank you ya.
Ya,
Ya.
sampai jumpa
Assalamualaikum.
ya.
Assalamualaikum.